Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. And I had a great Halloween. Today is November 1st, and yeah, had a lot of kids come by. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. Halloween and then, well, Christmas and then Halloween are my favorites. I just love dressing up and love seeing all the kids. And yeah, anyway, it's all sorts of good fun. So today I'm jumping on to talk about a really phenomenal product that I just love playing with. I have all sorts of examples. Um, a lot of my equipment is packed away, so this is going to be a bare bones YouTube because I'm going on a retreat this weekend, and this is the class that I'll be teaching. So yeah, a lot of the stuff's already packed away. But I have enough to make a good YouTube video for you guys, hopefully. Leave your comments down in the comment section whether you thought it was good or not. Anyway, what we're going to be playing with today, this is just one of the examples. It's one of my favorites. It's not the most favorite, but it is one of my favorites. We're going to be making these backgrounds. And what the product that we'll be using is Tim Holtz or Ranger Distress Mica Stains. Okay. Tim Holtz comes out with these at Halloween and Christmas, and he usually does sets of 3. So for the last couple of years, there's been like 6 colors introduced to Halloween, 6 colors introduced to Christmas, and he used to do them like sets 1 and 2 were introduced in, let's say, 2020. Sets 3 and 4 were introduced in 2021. Then in 2022, he did set 1 and 2 again. But I believe he has introduced new sets this year. Yeah, for both Christmas and for Halloween, so that you have more Halloweeny, like Halloween. You have colors that are more fall or Halloween orientated, like deep purples and kind of like a decayed green and kind of an iron color, yellow, deep harvest reds and oranges, things like that for Halloween and harvest time kind of thing. And then for Christmas, you get reds and greens, but also these really beautiful blues and pinks and teals, colors like that. So yeah, check them out. They're available pretty much wherever Tim Holtz stuff is sold. They used to be in limited quantities, but I think even this year now, you can actually replace the one color. Like, for example, I can't remember which set this came in, but these are the ones that I'm going to use today. Sugary Gumdrop, Shiny Bauble, and Cocktail Party. These 2 came together. But if, for example, Shiny Bauble was your favorite color and you found that you were using it the most, I think he's actually introduced them singly so that you can purchase just the one instead of having to get the set of 3. So yeah, so this is what we're going to play with today. Now, these are a stain. These are very similar to the Distress Stains, which are part of the Distress ink line that Tim Holtz puts out. And the difference with this, though, is that these include mica. So these will stain. They are pigment added to water, essentially, so that you can spray them, which is why it's called a spray. These ones, though, also have mica in them. And the mica is also dyed to match the color. Sorry, that came a little close. So you'll notice here, so you can see where the mica is in the bottle, which is why you need to make sure that you are always shaking them up before you use them. So here we go. You can see it kind of shimmering and shining in there. So that your Distress Stains will give you bright, vibrant, or dark, vibrant colors, however you want to think about that. But they will be like just the color. There's no sheen to them. These, however, will give you this beautiful sheen or shine, that kind of thing. Okay. So when you are shaking, now Tim Holtz is not the only one who carries these kinds of product. Lavinia has one, which I believe they call their magicals. I want to say magicals sprays. So they have those. I think there's a couple of other versions of a spray out there as well that has the mica in it. You can also find other versions of the sprays that have like just that are pigmented water. You can make your own as well. So this particular technique, you're using the stains, the spray stains with water. So this would be the same as any kind of pigment powder that you're using, especially one that has the mica in it. I have lots of videos that show playing with pigment powders. You have Ken Oliver, Lindy's Magicals, what's another one? Nouveau, like Tonic has some, I think they're called pixie powders. Elizabeth Crafts has some. There are lots and lots of versions of these out there. Okay, what I will recommend though, when you are shaking these up, you want to make sure that you are shaking them side to side, not up and down. When you shake them up and down, you take some of the bigger chunks of the mica and it goes up the spray nozzle and then it clogs up your tubes. Your tubes get clogged. So you always want to give it a shake, but you always want to do it side to side. If you're finding it's difficult to get the ball bearing that's in here moving, I like to kind of hit it on the hand a little bit. So I'm still going side to side. It's not going up the tube, okay? Going side to side. And it's always a good idea to kind of, you always want to give them a shake, especially if you have a whole lot of them. I have about 14 or 15 of them. I think I've got 15 of them. And I love them. I've been enjoying playing with them, making all sorts of backgrounds. They work beautiful for Lavinia backgrounds. And yeah, anyway, we're going to create a card today. So what you're going to need is you're going to need watercolor. You're going to need watercolor cardstock. I am just using watercolor cardstock that I got from the dollar store. So it's not particularly expensive. It's just easy to find. Any kind of cardstock. You can find expensive stuff. You can find less expensive stuff. You know, unless you find that you really like this, I like to start out with the less expensive version if you can. You will need that. You will need some mica sprays or just spray stains. Okay. The difference too is that this has a pure pigmented color. So when you spray it onto your surface, like onto your cardstock, it will actually dye your paper. It's like using a dye-based ink. It will dye your paper versus some sprays just kind of will tint it, like it'll still be, it's not opaque. This will be fully saturated into paper. And you will also need a heating tool. So whether you have like the barrel kind, I have the Ranger Heated Craft Tool, which is great for using for drying papers and mixed media type products, things like that. Okay, just going to grab some tweezers because I am going to attempt to not make too much of a mess. It's still going to be a mess and I'm going to have it on my hands, which is fine. But if it bothers you, make sure that you cover your surface. You want to use something that is easy to clean up. I'm going to be using the Tim Holtz Tonic Studios Blast Mat because it's easy to clean up. A silicone mat will be stained, but it's easy to clean up. The craft, is it the non-porous craft mat that you can get? That'll wipe up easily. Even just, I also usually put like an oven liner underneath this just to catch any overspray, but I'm not doing that today. Today, I'm just going to try and not get too carried away. So I'm going to create one background here and I'm just going to have a play. And I'm going to start with my lightest color, and you can start with whichever color you want. Doesn't matter. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, oh yeah, and you're also going to need a spray bottle with water. Okay, so I just happen to be using the Distress sprayer from the Tim Holtz from Ranger line, but any spray bottle that sprays water really well will work. Okay, so, and I'm just going to give it a spritz. So you can see this is a very bubblegum pink kind of color, and I'm trying to kind of block because I don't want to get spritz all over my computer. Been there. So I want to kind of keep it just a little bit. Okay. Actually, we'll just keep those off. There's no point in putting them back on. Give it a little shake and then give a little spritz of the blue. Okay, now this looks pretty cool already, just like this. I could just leave it like that. I quite like the colors as it's looking like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bit of a spray. I want some of these, I want the colors to start merging, moving around. And I'm going to tilt it. And then if I decide that I like it, I'm going to bring in my heat tool. And by drying it, it will allow me, just like the other Distress products, it'll allow me to start layering color. Let me get my cord out of the way there. This is the part that takes the longest, is waiting for it to dry or moving it around and kind of drying the paper and whatever. But it is an important part of the process because you're going to use a lot of water. The more water you use, obviously, the more your colors will mix match and move around, but I kind of like this, just how it's just spread just a little bit. I don't need it totally spread really far. Just a little bit more over there. Okay, like that. There. Okay, so now you can see I've got a few little wet spots left, but that's okay. So now I'm going to turn this around. Pretty sure that's how I was shooting it. Okay, now I'm going to go in the opposite order. So now I'm going to bring out a little bit more blue. I always put the lids back on. I think that's a habit. A little bit of the peach or the gumdrop, and then a little bit more of the cocktail party, this bright pink color, pinky red-ish. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more water, get that moving around a bit. Okay. Then I can pick it up. My color's moving a little bit. Whoop. My color's moving a little too much there. Up there. Okay, this nice, really deep, intense color here. Gonna move that a little bit. And we're gonna shift. And if you want, you can take a paper towel. If you are starting to get a little bit too much pooling, pick it up. Make the noises with it. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, and then we're gonna dry it. Now, the colors that are available in this line are really gorgeous. They're deeply saturated. You can get really cool, like balsam green. I think there's 4 or 5 greens in the line. There's turquoises and teals, and some of them look similar, but they are slightly different. One has more of a green tinge, one has more of a blue tinge. A really nice deep. You'll see some of the colors when I give you the when I show the examples of what I was making and stuff. But I'm just gonna keep playing with this one for now. Okay, so now you can even see, even though I didn't add purple, I'm starting to get purples where the blue and the red or the pinky color are kind of going. This is very based on similar thing to rainbow colors or your color theories, okay? Now, there is still some product here on my glass mat, so I can spray in some water and I can pick them up. You get some little smooshes. A little bit of texture in a couple of different areas here. Okay, let's try that and give it a dry here. And so you start to see where some of the speckling is happening, those different levels of the blue. So instead of having it blend and smooth out, I'm getting almost like a freckling effect. It's kind of cool looking. So this is just the same as when you're smooshing, water smooshing, or whatever you want to call it, smooshing with your oxides or your distress inks. Same process is now what we're doing. We're just kind of moving it around. Moving it around. Okay. Got some more here. Don't need to waste the product that's here. I've already got some on my mat here, so might as well. Because of course it's non-porous, so it's easy to clean up, but it's also going to sit on that surface. So I can also, I like this blue color, so I want to get a few more dribbles of the blue. There we go. Now, there is not really a bad way to go about this. There's many different techniques. You're never going to get the same result twice, which is kind of what's fun. these really also remind me of playing with alcohol inks, when you get those beautiful sheens and your colors kind of blend and move together, and you get these really unique creations. So I've been adding more of the blue and the pink, but you can still see that peach color coming through. It's not covered up, despite the fact that I've added 2 layers of the blue and the deep pink. And I kind of like, I love these little freckle looks that you can get. So, and basically, because you can layer these colors, you can keep going until you have a result that you like. It takes practice, it takes time to play, but basically you're not using a ton of product in order to do this. Okay, so you're not wasting a lot of money. Get yourself some watercolor cardstock. It's just paper. Just try it out. See how you like it. Or if you're like me, you come to one of my classes and you use my product, so you don't have to invest in the product. Okay, that is actually looking really cool. Quite happy with that. Let's have a look. What do you guys think? Now, it looks like a bit of a hot mess now, but let me show you what you can create with these. So you're putting your color down. You're using colors that you think you'll like. Play with your color combinations. You never know, right? I could add more peach onto this now if I want. But I'm really happy with the blues, with the little bit of peach that's in the background, but the blue and the pink. I could actually add a little bit more blue. So let's just do that. Let's add just a deeper. Oh, there we go. Whoa, spritzing myself there. Okay, now. So rather than moving it around, all I did was I put down kind of like the freckle effect of the blue, let it sit there for a minute, and then I sprayed water, just one spritz into one area, and it just moved that blue out just a bit. Let's see. Come on. Check that out. So cool. Love it. And there's still some blue on here, so I can reactivate that because it got dried a little bit as I was using my heat tool. Pick that up. Cool. Nice little sploogey there. Yeah, a little bit more there. There we go. Dry that spot. Then I'm going to clean up and show you what this ends up looking like. Just going to put this to the side, let it continue to dry a little bit. So I don't know about you. I mean, and it's really up to you. You can just spray it, put it aside, let it dry naturally. You don't have to use a heat tool. If you don't have a heat tool, that's fine. But for me, I kind of like, if I'm going to make the mess, I want to make the mess all at once and then go back to it and, you know, like, and clean it up once I'm all done, is in general what I prefer to do. So now for cleanup, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean out my caps, and then I give the nozzle on my on the jars or the bottles here a little bit of a wipe down. Okay, And give it just clean the nozzles just in case there's any mica stuck on the edges there, which we didn't want. Okay. And I want to clean that out too. Now, if I had another piece of cardstock, which of course I don't have because I was, like I said, everything is packed away getting ready for class. What I could do is, and this is the beauty of using this kind of mat, is that now you can see where some of that green, the turquoise, the pinks and everything, I could go and smush a whole new card and just use those colors rather than, again, wasting. So you can get 2 or 3 out of, you know, like one go of what you're making. And I think I have one baby white left. Gotta get the baby whites. So, and you can see how nice and easy that is to clean up. That's the benefit of using a glass mat. I also highly recommend glass mats when you're doing alcohol inks as well. And now I'm going to give this a spray and you'll see where all of the overspray was. Because that's what happens when you're using any kind of pigment, whether it's a spray, whether it's powders, they just get everywhere, but they're so much fun. So how can you not, right? All right, we'll hold on to that for now. So what I'm going to do, here. So these are a couple of the examples. This is actually the second class that I filmed because first one I was having internet issues on. So I was talking, you could hear me talking, but my hands would stop. So I didn't want to have to get too many comments. So you can see these are really, seem like they're really dark. This one's really light. But I think this would be just gorgeous as some of you know, I do like Lavinia stamps and things like that. This would be a beautiful undersea. Like this kind of looks like moss or not moss, seaweed, that kind of thing. So I have the mermaids. This would be really beautiful with that. This would also make a really beautiful Christmas card with these colors, the blue and the green. These ones made absolutely gorgeous skies, which I will show you in the examples of what I made. So also, if you think that it ended up like a hot mess, don't throw it away. It's not a waste. Okay? So here's a full background. All I did was cut out a silhouette die in just plain black and pop that on top. Okay, it helps tone down. So there's a lot of shine and sheen to this, but this is actually going to be a birthday card, a masculine birthday card, because it is shiny, but it's not blingy, right? So it's been toned down just enough. This, let me show you here. Look at that. So Santa Claus in the sky, believe in the magic. That's one of these backgrounds. So it's still dark, which the camera doesn't quite pick it up, but look at that sheen behind there. It looks just like a night sky. It's Santa Claus going across the night sky. How can you go wrong with that? Here's another one, and I'm actually going to show you how I made this. So I will make this card tonight on the class here. Okay. Another background. You pull out your background dies, your cover plate dies, pull those out. So I had this beautiful star one. So I cut into one of my purple, one of my purple backgrounds here, and layered it with gold in behind to be the stars in the night sky, and then just threw on a happy birthday sentiment. And I had enough left over from the card panel that I made, because I made a fuller size. I had enough left over from the card panel to also cut out the sentiment from my happy birthday so that it would match. Now, let's say that you ended up with something like this and you're like, oh my God, that's a hot mess. I can't possibly use that. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Well, how about you cut some dies out of it? Okay, so these are some beautiful leaf dies that I have. And I just made almost like a bouquet. You could use them for flowers, leaves, I mean, whatever you wanted to use them into. You could have, if you had a seaside and you had a blue and green one or something like that. I have this gorgeous, I wonder if I have it here or not. You don't. No, I don't have it. Sorry, guys. But I have a beautiful like round die that is a ship and a seashore or something like that. You could cut that out of it, put it on a white card or on a black card, and call it done. You've got your shine, you've got a beautiful picture, and it's gorgeously colored. But look at that. Okay. And here's another one. I did a couple of green backgrounds and I just cut leaves out of it. So these are like tree stems kind of thing. That one. Or you could use a cover plate die that cuts out of your card front, put this in behind it. Or if it's such a hot mess, you really want to tone it down, you could actually use a cover plate die. So I actually used a piercing cover plate die underneath to give the white of the card some texture. And then I cut out on my cover plate out of my orange and kind of orange and red background, put that on top, and then you're in my thoughts. And so this will be a lovely, I mean, it's a sympathy card is what I'm going to use it for, but okay. Another example, look at that sunset. Almost looks like a sunset behind this silhouette, right? So this is a die that cuts into a card front. So this is the negative space. Okay. Yeah, and it's just beautiful. This is actually from 2 cards. I think I used this part, and I think, yeah, pretty sure it was these 2 were the same. So they were part of the same panel. And then I didn't have to use, I used just enough on the back of this and just enough on the back of this in order to get that back there. Okay. And of these examples of using the dies, check out this. This is actually called a kaleidoscope die, and it has 4 layers. So there's the background layer, which is in black. And then each layer, there's 3 other layers on top, which I cut out of panels. So one of these purple panels, which was a little too much because this has got a lot of pink for me, I'm not going to lie. So one of the purple panels is in here, like that. It's just gorgeous. The other thing that you can do, and this will be probably in a follow-up video, but you can do watercoloring. So all I did when I was doing this is I sprayed, took a little bit of the spray, actually just scooped it, took it out like this, and just dabbed the end of the nozzle like this onto my craft mat, and then added a little spritz of water and went in and painted this. So this is a background stamp. It's a 6x6 stamp. I trimmed it down to fit a 5.5 by 5.5 card and mounted it. And then, so I stamped it and then gold heat embossed it. And what that does is that helps the watercoloring stay within the lines pretty much. And yeah, just when you're using something like this, so again, it's got these beautiful, vibrant colors, but you just have to make sure when you're using it, you have to swirl your paintbrush because again, the mica will settle to the bottom of your palette because it's mica, it's heavier than the water that you're using or the pigment that's in these bottles. It's heavier than that, which is why you get that sediment at the bottom. So you have to make sure that you swirl your paintbrush, pick it up, and paint it in there. It's gorgeous. And I had one more. So if you don't want to do all of this work, because I'm not going to lie, this was a lot of work. It took me about a half an hour. But look at this. Again, another beautiful background stamp. And I just chose the Merry Christmas, 2 colors. Again, I stamped it and heat embossed it so that it's got this nice raised area. And then I was able to just paint right in between it. These are incredibly, incredibly versatile. Okay? So those are the examples of what you can do with these. So now I'm just going to put together 2 cards for you because I have them basically ready to go here. So the first one, because I told you about it, I'm going to take my background. So again, this was one of these panels like this. Okay. So this was one of these, actually it was probably darker. So it was more like this one. What I did is I cut it into 2. So it was slightly bigger. I cut it into 2. One went on this for this die cut and the other one went on the other one. So I'm getting a twofer, which you all know me. I love a twofer. Okay? Because you can see, I don't have to, I only used this much. I just needed to cover the background of where the Santa Claus is. Okay. So I'm going to take this. This is on a, what is this? A 5x7 card, 5.5 by 7 card. It's that very strange size. Take my glue, my adhesive. I'm just going to line her out here. Okay, and now I'm going to try and put it down as straight as possible. I'm eyeballing it. I am not Hallmark, nor do I, expect to be. So this is a guesstimate of getting it fairly close here. And I know that it's a little wider than my card, so I'm going to try and get it pretty central there. And I'm just going to hold it. Yeah, that's not bad actually. Oops. Oh, it's a little high on the top. Fudge nuts. Okay, let's see if we can quickly shimmy. Oh, look at I got it. Yay. The benefit of liquid adhesive sometimes. Okay. So I'm just going to turn that over, give it some pressure so that all of the adhesive, because of course I did use a watercolor. So the, the panel of the mica sprays is a little warped. So I want to make sure that I'm getting good adhesion down there. So that's excellent. Now that's really nice. You could just leave it there. I heat embossed my sentiment here with silver embossing powder. So I stamped it down with Versamark, heat embossed it just to brighten it up again. It brings out the silver kind of in the mica that's behind there. So I really like that. But in order to brighten it up a little bit more and just add a little bit of zhuzh, I cut out some strips of what would you call this? Just reflective paper. So this is actually from this huge pad I got from the dollar store, and makes just a nice little highlight strip. So I'm just going to add some liquid adhesive here, and I'm going to do my best to get it as even as possible. I don't think I cut it quite straight there, but I'm just going to lay it here, kind of at the base. There we go. Again, just kind of going to give it that little bit so it looks like it's got a bit of a mat. Not a ton, just a little bit. The previous one that I did, I actually popped up the ho ho ho. And it's nice, but I actually think I'm going to like this a little bit better to have this flat rather than having all the dimension on there. I know, you're all shocked. No dimension, Corinne? What are you talking about? Oh, so I'm gonna cut that one just a little bit short. So the other one's a little too long. This one's a little too short. Oh well, that's gonna work well enough for me. It's not enough that you can actually see it too badly, but really nice little happy holidays card, which then I can stamp on the inside if I like, whichever. So that's one option. The other option of a panel that I made in the previous video that I filmed but did not get to put out because I was having problems with my camera. So again, this was another panel that had like some really pretty kind of skyish colors. So it had a little bit of the bluey green. So it looks kind of like a stormy cloud, right? So it was a panel that was this size. I made it out of this size card. But what I did is I cut out a silver die cut, glued it onto the panel, cut that out, and then I also had enough to cut out the shadow for my Merry Christmas sentiment. Okay, so I used this iridescent paper to cut out my snowflake and this. And so, yeah, that was the background busy? Sure. But that's going to make an absolutely striking Christmas card. Okay. So now I'm just going to go that. So we can get her mostly straight. There. Let's get that off so I can see. Yeah, there we go. And I'm pretty happy with that. We'll go with that, I think. Yep. Okay. And then, as I said, I'm just going to kind of turn it over, burnish it from the back here a little bit so that all of the adhesive adheres. Okay, like that. Good. And now I'm going to take my Merry Christmas. Give that some adhesive on my tweezers. Merry Christmas. Here we go. So, and I don't think I'm going to stick any baubles or sequins or anything on this. I think I'm just going to keep it as a clean and simple card. I know you guys are all shocked. Clean and simple, you Corinne? No way. But I am, because already the iridescent from the sentiment and from the micas and from the snowflakes on here are already pretty shiny. And I don't think that I need anything else on here. So I'm just going to hold that down for a minute so that it can adhere. Put the tip back in my glue. I get a little squidgy there. Oh, no, that's actually from my die cut. So let's pull that off. There we go. All right. So that used up look at how simple and beautiful that is. Like that is a gorgeous Christmas